Well, good Thursday evening, everyone. Todd Warren here on Facebook Live tonight, as well as on the weather page of KTALnews.com, as well as within the article that I wrote earlier this afternoon concerning the possibility for strong to severe thunderstorms across most of the ArkLaTex here for Saturday. I'm going to spend most of my time tonight, the next 15, maybe 20 minutes, talking about that possibility as we are looking at some severe weather risks, especially the farther east you live. Coming up, I'll show you the latest from Futurecast as far as the possible timing of the storms. And unfortunately, so far, it's the only high-res model that I have in the system that goes out that far. The 0ZHR is coming in, but it may not even catch all of it, and it's not all in yet either. So I'm going to share the latest from Futurecast to show you what it's showing as far as possible hail, show you what it's showing as far as possible rotating storms, and of course the latest on how much rain we could see across the region. So if you have a question or a comment concerning Saturday storms or anything weather for that matter, feel free to ask away. And also if you just want to say hi, that's fine too. It is tradition to begin things with our hellos. As get this if you're just tuning in, the feed that you see here is coming from my page, Todd Warren Weather. So if you're watching on the NBC page or the Fox page, that's why you're probably not seeing your comment. All right, so let's see who's tuning in tonight, and we'll go down the list here. Gary and Bonnie and Sarah, hello. Michelle in Texarkana, greetings. Gail, hello. Sarah says very hot in Brooklyn, 83 today. Wow, you're hotter than we were. Betty, hello. Brian, greetings. And Brenda, hello to you. You can see the pretty sunset that occurred this evening in Texarkana, as we did have that big upper level low, which if you saw the radar presentation, even satellite, it looked like a tropical system, but it was far from that. But it is moving away, so the clouds have been decreasing here during the afternoon. And where we go from here is tomorrow we're going to be kind of in between disturbances as we show you the outlook here. This is a look at the entire country and what we're looking at as far as these weather systems moving across the country during the course of the next several days. You can see that one low which brought us the clouds, and actually if that low wasn't there, we would probably have experienced 90-degree heat over the course of the last couple of days. So this is moving out. We'll see, again, a south wind tomorrow. We will warm into the 80s tomorrow. You can see the cold front up to our north. And Sarah, there in Brooklyn, you're looking at some rain coming in probably tomorrow night, Saturday. And for us, you can see Saturday morning, that front still well to our north and west. It will quickly approach the ArkLaTex. And you might recall, yesterday during my live update, that's when Futurecast kind of picked up on the possibility that these storms will possibly pose a severe weather risk. Earlier in the day, pretty much every model had the front coming through during the earlier in the afternoon, several hours earlier, and all the storms would fire up in central and northeast Louisiana. Now that it's coming in later, the storms will fire up over us and then strengthen as they move out. So that's why we've seen a bit of a change in the severe weather outlook here for Saturday. So this front will continue to push on through. As it does so, we'll quickly see conditions improve as we go from basically west to east during the evening hours Saturday evening. And then longer range will kind of settle into a quiet weather pattern. You can see that cold front, which is going to slide its way off towards the east. High pressure will begin to build into the plains, and that's going to produce lots of sunshine for us for Sunday, probably a clear sky for Sunday night, and we'll see, again, similar conditions for Monday. Notice more activity back to the north and west, a couple more disturbances. Models really don't have a good handle on things in the longer range, and if I have time, we'll discuss what we could be seeing next week in what I call grain of salt time here later on when we go out longer range. All right, so let's go to the details. Again, this is the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center for Saturday and Saturday night. For us, the main time is going to be during the afternoon and evening. And again, with these SPC outlooks, you have that 1 to 5 scale. And I've, instead of putting numbers in here, I've put little one-word descriptions on most of them. One is 2. But that kind of describes what the coverage would be with the severe weather that we expect within these areas. So in the isolated or in the marginal risk area where the storms just start to develop an isolated risk for a strong storm. In the slight risk area, the storm reports that we experience probably will be a bit more scattered in nature. And it does appear as if all severe weather threats will be possible. Wind probably going to be the most widespread issue, but it is possible that we could have a few reports of large hail. It's also possible that we might see a tornado or two. It's not going to be a huge tornado outbreak for us by any means, but there is some risk of maybe seeing a tornado or two. So let's go into, first of all, into the timing. And I'm going to go through this first part covering Saturday, and then I'll try to address some of your questions. All right, so here we go with Futurecast, and we'll take you out probably through Saturday evening with the high-res version of Futurecast. This shows a bit more detail, so you can see the clearing which is already taking place. We will see a mostly clear sky across the ArkLaTex tonight, and then tomorrow we'll see plenty of sunshine with the clouds beginning to increase over the west in east and northeast Texas late in the day. Notice the arrows getting bigger. That's Futurecast telling you that the wind tomorrow will be stronger than what we've experienced over the last couple of days out of the south at a good 10 to 15 miles per hour. That will combine with the sunshine to warm us up into the middle 80s across a good chunk of the area. Now, the clouds will increase tomorrow night. We will see a small chance for a spotty shower, but not really too much to worry about as far as rain tomorrow night. And then Saturday, we will see that frontal system move in. You'll see the wind shift in those arrows as the front moves in. So we'll start to see things fire up as we go into the early afternoon hours over the northern sections of southwest Arkansas, basically north of Interstate 30 and north of Interstate 30 in northeast Texas and southeast Oklahoma. This part of the ArkLaTex is where the severe weather risk is probably looking at its lowest, although I would be concerned further to the east in Hempstead and Nevada counties. Let's move this forward into the afternoon. You can see how things kind of fire up a bit more as the morning clouds Saturday will give way to some afternoon breaks. We'll see highs more than likely in the mid-80s again, and you can see by 5 o'clock the brunt of the storms will extend from about Prescott to Hope, Magnolia, Spring Hill to Shreveport, down to Center, and that's pretty close to the back edge. And here, storms probably will be approaching severe limits, okay? And then they will strengthen as they move eastward. So the moral of the story here is the farther east you live, more than likely the chances of seeing some severe weather issues will be higher, okay? Because the storms will have longer to gain strength. Notice by the time we get to 9 o'clock Saturday evening, the storms much further to the east out of the ArkLaTex, and this kind of looks like a complex of storms actually might try to form, which would pose more of a widespread wind risk as they move into Mississippi later on tomorrow night. And going through the rest of the evening, you can see that activity moving out, and we will very quickly clear out Saturday evening behind the thunderstorms. All right, so let's talk about the risks. Again, wind, probably the biggest concern. Unfortunately, Futurecast really doesn't have a product that kind of details the peak thunderstorm wind gusts, but it does show us where we could be looking at hail-producing storms. So I'll cover that now. And this loop basically goes from noon Saturday to 10 p.m. And how you look at this, what I've learned is that when we have pink here, we usually have some hail reports. They may not be up to quarter size, right, which is what is considered to be severe. But notice we do have some of the blacks and grays. When I start seeing that, especially the grays on this product, then that's when perhaps the hail threat may be a bit higher. So you can see more of these gray areas over the eastern sections of the area where the storms likely will be at their strongest. So hail will be a concern. Again, more than likely a bigger concern in northwest Louisiana, east of Shreveport, and southwest Arkansas, probably well east of Texarkana, maybe even over towards El Dorado. All right, let's talk about the tornado risk. As I mentioned at the top, this probably is not going to be a big widespread tornado outbreak for us. Just a possibility for a quick spinner or two is what we're looking at for most of our area. You can see this is the same time frame of the loop, noon to 10 p.m. These areas that you see here is where Futurecast shows where the atmosphere will support rotating storms. And you can see the scale here. This represents the strength of those rotating updrafts in the storms. And so anytime we see blue, that's where we might say there's a possibility in south central Arkansas, probably east of El Dorado, that we may have a strong tornado. That is something that obviously is within the realm of possibility. Keep in mind, we're going to have a big upper level low, which I'll show you here in a second. And that part further north is going to be closer to that upper level low, where the upper level winds may be a bit stronger. All right, so what you take from this is, notice we have some of these swaths pretty much everywhere. Very, very weak west, stronger east, so that tells me that perhaps the tornado risk, if we have any, and that's a big if, will be highest over the eastern tier of counties and parishes here across the ArkLaTex, probably very late Saturday afternoon and early Saturday evening. If I were to put a broad window, 4 to 8 p.m., and that may be a bit broad. But there you go. That's what we're looking at as far as the tornado risk. Rain, we're going to get quite a bit of rain in where the storms are stronger. Again, we've been dry for the better part of the last week. And you can see this is I believe this is the low-res version. So this paints with a broad brush going through Monday, and it's showing eastern half the area a good 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. Let's show you the high-res version, which is what I meant to click on. And this will give us a little bit more detail. And you can see these swaths of green. That's where at least 1 inch is possible. Notice more widespread 1 inch totals, south central Arkansas, north central and northeast Louisiana. And you can kind of really look at this as also telling you where the storms will be strongest and most widespread. All right, so that's what we're kind of looking at as far as the rain threat. I don't anticipate seeing any flooding issues over most of the area. Have to keep an eye on the eastern edge, but again, it's going to be happening over several hours for the most part. You'll see more waves of these storms in Arcadia, Homer, Magnolia, Prescott, Willisville, Bienville Parish. That's the part of the ArkLaTex which will probably see more waves of these stronger thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening come Saturday. So that's what we're looking at in a nutshell as far as the threat of severe weather Saturday. Let me excuse me, address some of your questions. Let's see here. Amanda, I don't know what you've seen, but I pretty much covered what I'm seeing. So that hopefully answers your question. Let's see. It was a nice day, Rusty. The clouds did keep temperatures in the mid-70s this afternoon, and it looks like we're going to be looking at, again, a big warm-up here for the next couple of days. Michelle, for Texarkana, I'm really not too concerned about tornadic activity in Texarkana. You're far enough to the west, as you just saw with the rotation potential. The more widespread potential is further to your east. It's possible, but the risk is looking low. I'll put it that way. Hello there, Sharon. Sorry, Bonnie. Hope you get to feeling better soon. And I echo what Gail said. All right, so that's the short-range version of things. I do have some time here, so let me move on and show you what we could be looking at here as far as the longer-range picture. And this is the 10-day pattern. And you might recall last night I had some issues with lagging. I did some troubleshooting, and I found the issue was with grain of salt time, the 2-week outlooks of temperatures. When I load those up this evening, everything just kind of bogged down. So I'm not going to show you those graphics. We're going to be getting new hardware here soon, so hopefully that'll speed things up a bit. You can see first of all the pattern here for the next couple of days. Here comes the upper trough. And notice that it does dig decently to the south. And this is another reason why the outlook for severe weather has increased for us. Earlier in the week, this was much further to the north. And you can see that it does go negative as far as the tilt. You can see that tilt. Anytime you draw a line through the axis of a trough like this, and it's pointed to the southeast, that's what we call a negative tilt. And it's more conducive to producing severe weather, okay? That's another reason why perhaps as this goes negative, that begins to take place as these storms exit the area. All right, you can see the ridging which will take place behind it, but notice another one of these big upper level lows during the middle part of next week, and we see this southwesterly flow in the upper level winds take shape, and that's going to bring in more clouds starting probably Tuesday of next week, and starting Wednesday we'll see these chances of rain. No big disturbances coming around here to give us a widespread severe weather event next week. We could have a frontal system close by with temperatures probably in the 80s, could produce some rather strong thunderstorms during the end of the 10-day period. And I showed you what Futurecast was showing as far as rainfall potential. This is a blend of the different models which goes out 10 days. And notice these numbers, not as high as you might expect, which again shows you that the blend of, which does contain some of the short range models, some of which don't go out all the way through Saturday yet, so these numbers probably will go up. But after that, I would expect after Saturday maybe another half an inch to an inch is what we might see across the area next week. It doesn't look like very widespread, and you'll see that in the 10-day forecast that I'm going to show you here in a second, that rainfall potential should be relatively low across the area. So I'm going to put this back on the severe weather outlook here, because I noticed that when I called up this graphic that the feed went to kind of bonkers here and slowed down just a touch. Sarah, what's normal temperatures for April? Here it's mid to upper 70s and mid 50s is what's normal for here. Yeah, Betty, again, there's an issue with this computer, and it's getting old. It's going to be fixed here soon, hopefully. I'm working on that. All right, so that's why I put it on here. And instead of showing you the 2 weeks worth of temperatures on my computer, I do have those called up here, I believe. And here's the European ensembles. Notice that it shows temperatures. These are too cool. Add 5 degrees to these. So warm up Saturday, probably mid to maybe even upper 80s, with cool down and probably 80s for most of next week. Really the one I should show you is the GFS ensemble. So I'll show you what this shows as far as the temperatures here moving forward, if I can get it to load up. There it goes. So you can see the warm up here to Saturday. The front comes through, we cool off Sunday, start to warm up Monday, and notice the rest of the 2 week period will be in the 80s, lows Monday morning in the 40s. Then we warm up. We probably have a system coming through Friday night, Saturday. What I'm looking for here is drops in temperatures. So somewhere here late next week is when we might see our next best chance for more widespread rains according to this set of ensembles. And then we cool off a little bit, and then notice we pretty much stay in the 80s for daytime highs. And Sarah, as far as your temperatures, this is what you're going to be looking at here. I do have that bookmarked. And you can see that warm again tomorrow, you cool off. You can kind of see the highs 60s and 70s there in your neck of the woods in Brooklyn, Sarah. So that's what we're kind of looking at. So again, that just kind of gives us a longer range look at what we might be seeing temperature-wise. Nothing too outlandish as far as highs here for the ArkLaTex. Pretty much stay in the 80s for highs, lows mainly in the 50s and 60s as we head towards the end of April. And last night, night before last, someone posed the question: when is the average time that we see 90 for the first time? Believe it or not, it's in the 1st of May. So it looks like we could be pretty close to that this year if all holds true moving forward. Let's see. Barbara, what time will the Hope Prescott area expect rain? I would suspect first half of the afternoon. 1 to 3 o'clock would be a window I would give you at this point, and heaviest at the end of that window. Sarah, you have your, well, welcome to the club, Sarah. I think I've had mine on off and on for the last couple of months, it seems. All right, so there you go. Let me go to the forecast, and we'll kind of wrap things up for tonight. So tonight and tomorrow, a Chamber of Commerce day. As you can see, we will see the mostly clear sky tonight. Temperatures will dip into the middle 70s across the ArkLaTex with 57 degrees in Shreveport, 55 for the low temperature in Texarkana tomorrow. Again, lots of sunshine, a few clouds in the afternoon, so we'll call it partly cloudy. Could have said mostly sunny. You know, we're going to see lots of sun. Kind of breezy tomorrow with that south wind at 10 to 15, and it will be much warmer with highs warming into the middle 80s across most of the area. 84 tomorrow in Shreveport, 83 in Texarkana, 83 degrees also in Marshall. And your 10-day forecast shows that we will see temperatures across the ArkLaTex that will be warming up more than likely into the middle 80s for Friday and Saturday. We'll cool into the 70s for Sunday and Monday, and then see those temperatures that will, let me try this. Let's go to a different 10-day. I think that may clear up the lagging issues. Obviously, this scene is now causing issues with the setup here on the computer. So let's show you that, and you can see that as this loads, this is a look at the 10-day forecast. I know that the feed was kind of lagging somewhat. Something somewhere is awry. So although my computer says I'm only using 30% of my CPU, so it should be good. So something somewhere is messed up. But nonetheless, you can see the 10-day forecast, the cool down after Saturday's cold front. We start to warm up Monday. Sunday, Monday look awesome, highs in the 70s with sunshine. We will see a little bit of a cool down or warm up Tuesday, and we kind of stay in the low to middle 80s for the rest of next week. As of right now, have a chance of rain Wednesday and kind of iffy rainfall chances Thursday, Friday, through next weekend really. I would expect in the coming days that you'll see the percentages on the rain chances change quite a bit, as the models are all over the place, to be honest with you, on what we can expect for next week. So that's pretty much what we're looking at here moving forward. Thanks for tuning in tonight, folks. I think I've addressed all of your questions. I'll be back. I do plan on doing another Facebook Live tomorrow night with another live update on the severe weather threat for Saturday. So I'll see you back here again tomorrow night. Until then, have a great night, and if you can, get outside and enjoy tomorrow's sunshine. Good night.